So today I wanted to discuss Rifleman Jack Cooper, which is going to be a little different than what I normally do. Anyways, I've got kind of a theory as to why he's such a good pilot, and as always, this is my speculation. I'm putting pieces together that may shed a little more light on the game as to what's going on, because as I always say, the lore isn't really that deep. But I know this disclaimer, I guess, is going to be pretty lame, but some people get really offended when I speculate on lore. Anyhow, let's talk about Jack Cooper and why I believe he may actually be an IMC pilot. Let's start from the beginning. Jack Cooper was born on October 6, 2087. His home planet is Earth. After his birth and during this era exists a massive disproportion between the wealthy and the poor. Because of this, Jack and his family left Earth when he was an infant in search of better life on the frontier. During this time, the frontier was still being subjected to harassment by the IMC. As Jack became an adult, he joined the militia and took part in the Battle of Fracture during the events of Titanfall 1. Supposedly at some point during the battle, Jack acquired a head injury that left him with a concussion, which in turn led to some amnesia. Now this in itself isn't really that strange. People receive head wounds all the time, but what is strange is usually memory will return after a concussion. It just takes time. While it's not 100% certain when, it's more probable that it will come back. So you are told this information early in the game as to explain why you don't remember much. During your training with Lastimosa, and also judging by the options you can respond with, you appear pretty surprised that Lastimosa would even bring in a Titan for you in a simulator. From this I can assume that Jack has never really had too much interaction with a Titan at all, and this may have actually been his first attempt at using one, even if it is just in a simulation. Now I know in-game tutorials are necessary so that you can actually learn how to play the game, but Lastimosa talks like Jack is really green as grass through the entire tutorial. Not like, oh, you should remember doing this like we practiced yesterday sort of deal. It's like, hey, this is how you do it. Which is really, I guess that should be expected, as you're supposed to only be a grunt. However, what is not expected is a couple things. Some of my astute viewers pointed out to me concerning my nanite theory that Cooper is able to punch and kill specters as soon as he lands in his pod. In fact, if you would like to hear that nanite theory, a card should be coming up on screen now going over the biology and possible lore of pilots. Anyhow, so right out of the gate, Cooper is able to attack and kill specters, big machines, with just his hands. Whereas most other grunts, as you can see here, would only use their weapons to kill specters because they can't use their limbs to fight back on those things. On top of this, after Lastimosa succumbs to his injuries, you seem to fall right in line with utilizing a Titan. You are supposed to be a complete newbie at it, yet you appear to be, a pilot who carries it in their genetics. People train extensively to use a jump kit, yet 10 minutes in, you are already using it like a pro. Almost like you remember the skills, but you don't have the memories. Later, after the fight at the Dish, where you are able to contact the militia fleet, Sarah Briggs tells BT that he will be transferred to a qualified pilot, but BT protests, saying that their efficiency was extremely effective and that he wished to remain with Jack. Briggs says that's high praise coming from a machine, but again, I bring up the point, where exactly did Jack get these skills with a Titan? During training, he seemed apprehensive about even bringing in a simulated Titan. Then, to have this natural knack for piloting the Titan in battle and surviving all the waves of Titans thrown at him, as well as the hundreds of foot soldiers, it seems like Jack has more than just luck on his side. So let's revisit the head wound. It's never explicitly stated how he got this injury or why he got it. He was just fighting for the militia, and that's really it. He just somehow got it and then they recovered him. But how do we know that's actually the case? If you look at this objectively, something seems amiss. So I submit to you that Jack Cooper may have come from the frontier with his family, but he wasn't always fighting for the militia. I don't think he actually received a head wound causing amnesia. I believe Jack was a pilot for the IMC. If he was captured during the regeneration process, that would have wiped his memory having served for the IMC, yet his skills would have remained with him. Obviously, the militia wouldn't start Jack off as a pilot in this position because he wouldn't have even remembered how he got there. But what they could do is start him as a grunt and allow him to work up to becoming a pilot, and tell him all the while that you were always a grunt and you just now wanted to become one. Letting his skills basically come out in a more natural way as not to arouse suspicion from Jack himself. If he was a pilot previous, this would account for his excellent skills as a new pilot and almost natural ability to work with a Titan. It's because it's not natural at all. He's done this all before. A head injury would be a convenient way to get Jack to not ask too many questions as to where he came from and how he was picked up by the militia. I based my hypothesis on another idea as well. Jack was poor. His family left Earth in search of a better life. So when war breaks out, what is the best way to earn some money? Fight for the side signing paychecks. I'm certain the militia signs paychecks now, but at the beginning when they were fledgling, man, it was all just based on ideas and who you wanted to fight for, because you probably weren't going to get paid, so the IMC would look way more attractive concerning monetary reimbursement. Jack would sign in to train with the IMC and then he would become a pilot. After a while of being a pilot in the IMC, he probably decided to regenerate his body. During the process, however, he was either captured actually during it or shortly after by the militia. They clearly saw this as a benefit to themselves, having a trained IMC pilot at their disposal. And because they knew they could get no information out of him because he didn't know who he fought for at this point, they were able to adopt him into the militia, which leads us to why he was such a great pilot and able to kill enemy soldiers and specters with his bare hand right out of the gate, because he already possessed the nanite injections. So there you have it. That is my thinking concerning Jack Cooper. But do you guys think I'm full of crap, or do you think there's a possibility that this might actually be the case with Jack? I would love to hear down in the comments. If you guys like the video, then don't forget to like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. I also want to shout out my patrons. At the scientist tier, we have Leela Alizarin. At the PhD in genetics tier, there's of course John Russo. At the masters in biology, we have your boy Andrew Lawson. And the bachelors in morphological sciences, we have Adam Hartwick, Eric Scott Gillies, mailing address, and a big fat snake. I want to say thank you to all my patrons. Someone mentioned the other day how bad the adpocalypse hit everyone because even middle tiers were asking everyone to stick around to the end of the video. But believe it or not, I'm actually not monetized by YouTube. That's why I have no commercials if you've noticed. So any help from my patrons is really massively appreciated. If you would like to become a patron, I will drop a link down in the description. But okay guys, I hope you liked the video again. Coming out on Thursday, I believe, or maybe Friday morning, I can't remember. I should have a episode uploaded about the demon from Metro. So, or really the demons from Metro. Going over their lore and morphology and all that, and possibly where they come from. So let me know what you think down in the comments. That does it for me. As always, I will see y'all in the next one.